Every parent thinks they're doing it wrong. Turns out, what we call modern parenting is really just a Western experiment, barely 200 years old. And it may be the only parenting model in human history that tried to do it alone. Before that, humans raised children in a way so different from today that it would make most modern parents deeply uncomfortable. And the science suggests it worked better. We think of ancient humans as barely surviving, scrambling, brutal, disposable lives. But the more researchers dig into how early human parents actually raised children, the stranger and more sophisticated the picture gets. Ancient grandmothers may have evolved specifically to babysit. Babies were never, not once, left alone. And the entire group, not just the mother, was responsible for keeping one infant alive. This is how parenting worked. Hundreds of thousands of years ago. Someday, somewhere in a cave, a baby was born. No crib, no hospital, no soft things bought from a store. Just her mother's arms, and a small group of people nearby. For the next few years, she would never sleep alone. That wasn't an accident. That was the plan. Infants cannot regulate their own body temperature. In an Ice Age world, without heating, without insulated walls, without modern medicine, hypothermia was almost certainly among the leading causes of newborn death. Researchers studying living hunter-gatherer groups, including the Hadza of Tanzania, have found they consistently sleep in clusters, with children and adults on the same surface. Co-sleeping wasn't tenderness. It was one of the things standing between a newborn and death on a cold night. But warmth wasn't the only reason the baby was never put down. Anthropologists studying remaining hunter-gatherer societies found infants were held, carried, or touched by another person for up to 90% of their waking hours. Not sometimes. Constantly. A mother carried her infant in a hide sling, skin against skin. It kept the baby warm and allowed nursing on demand, which mattered more than people today might realize. Frequent breastfeeding doesn't just feed a baby. It suppresses the mother's ovulation, naturally spacing out pregnancies. In a world where food was never guaranteed, two infants competing for the same milk was a serious survival problem. The body had its own birth control, and it only worked if the infant nursed frequently and for long enough. How long is long enough? Scientists can now answer that with surprising precision. By analyzing stable isotopes locked in the enamel of ancient teeth, chemical signatures that shift when a child transitions from breast milk to solid food, researchers can pinpoint weaning age in populations that lived thousands of years ago. What they find, consistently, is that ancient children nursed far longer than the modern average. That is, between 2 and 4 years of age. In most Western countries today, breastfeeding typically ends before 1 year. We're talking about children who could walk, talk, and run, still nursing. Not because of philosophy, but because the calories and immune protection it provided were genuinely harder to replace any other way. And none of this was carried by the mother alone. Researchers call it cooperative breeding, and it may be one of the most important reasons our species survived at all. Unlike most primates, where mothers do nearly all infant care alone, early human babies were raised by a network. Grandmothers, aunts, older siblings, even unrelated band members. Scientists call these secondary caregivers allo mothers. A human infant is one of the most metabolically expensive creatures on Earth. Our brains triple in size in the first few years of life, demanding enormous caloric investment. No single mother, foraging and hunting for her own survival at the same time, could have carried that cost alone. The network had to share it, or the child did not survive. The tribe didn't just help raise children. The tribe, according to this theory, may have literally shaped the human lifespan. So what did the day-to-day actually look like? When a baby cried, it was soothed almost instantly. Not because Ice Age parents were unusually patient, but because a crying infant was a real danger signal in a world with actual predators. In hunter-gatherer groups, babies cry significantly less than babies in industrialized nations. Not because they are different babies, but because someone responded every single time within seconds. There was no concept of spoiling a child. No cry-it-out method. No separate baby room. Children were present for everything. Tool-making, butchering, storytelling, mourning. A 2-year-old in this world had watched dozens of adult tasks, up close, dozens of times, learning not through formal instruction, but through sheer immersion. And then, somewhere around 4 or 5, the constant carrying stopped. The child was expected to keep up literally, during seasonal moves. To fetch water. To watch a younger sibling. The transition from infant to contributor was not gentle or gradual by modern standards. It was practical and fast. Childhood, in this world, was short. When we imagine Stone Age parenting, we tend to picture something brutal, survival at the expense of warmth, love replaced by necessity. The evidence tells a different story. These were not reckless parents, guessing their way through survival. In many ways, they were executing one of the most attentive, high-contact, socially supported child-rearing systems our species has ever practiced, one built by tens of thousands of years of pressure, failure, and refinement. We didn't invent attachment parenting. We inherited it, then spent the last few centuries slowly, quietly, dismantling it, replacing the network of 40 with a household of 2, replacing constant contact with cribs in separate rooms, replacing the communal I with one exhausted parent, watching alone. The cave never had a parenting manual. It had something stronger, an entire group of people who could not afford to let that baby fail.